Okay, another plugin that you may want to use with all your fonts and or text settings within your scene is what's called the text BG, and the text BG will allow you to put something behind your text and allow it to grow if you type more text or delete some text. Let's set this up to show you how this is going to work. So first, obviously we're going to need a font. Next, we want to select some type of global primitive that we want to use as a backplate. We could use a rectangle. We could use a cube. This will work as well with the text BG. And or we could use a Nagi. So I'll just slide the Nagi up here and we'll stick with this one. So obviously there's all types of things you can do with design here as well. We're just going to keep it very simple so that we can just explain how this works. We're not going to spend too much time on any part of design here. So I'm just going to slide a material onto my Nagi so that we'll be able to see it. And maybe we'll just drag a material onto our text as well so that we'll be able to see this. And I'm just going to make this black so I can just copy my colors down onto the next thing. Okay, so we want to have this Nagi grow and or shrink as we type text. So we come in here and we want to type and we want to have this background grow with it. We're going to use a plugin called Text BG. So we're going to go into our drop down here. We can select the all if we want, and we can go into our tools folder over here on the left. And within the tools folder is the Text BG, and the Text BG gets dropped onto the container that you want to follow the text. So don't drop it onto the text container. And you can see once we do that how it automatically grows. Now I'm going to group these two just so I can grab it and drag them over together to reposition this. We'll see what's going on here. Now remember, this is three-dimensional, so we'll need to push our backplate in Z plane just one, and now we can see the text. Now if we come into our text box and we delete our text, you see that text box is going to shrink, and then when we come in and start typing, you can see how that box grows. Now once you have that set up, it's basically just going back and doing the design. So for instance, we don't want, we're using a Nagi, we could take that stretch off, we could bevel each corner on the Nagi if we want or do not want. So it all depends on what shape you're using and what you want in the backside. Obviously, again, we could spend time texturing this and all that, but we just want to set it up. What's happening within the Text BG? This plugin here has a couple of parameters. First, we have the size parameter, and when we dropped it on, it automatically fit the parameters we were looking for so that it scaled left and right when we typed. Now the big thing within the Text BG container is the text container. When we did drag this plugin onto our container, our scene or scene tree was set up correctly because our text was actually the previous container in our scene tree. So what options you have here are parent, next, and other. So if it was parent, this is how it would have to be set up. Your scene tree would have to be set up like that. If it was on next, it would have to be outside of the container. So just like we kind of had it before on the previous, and then there's also an other. And when you click on that other, this box opens up. So what you could do then is drag that text box in there and you still get the same variable as before. So now we also have a direction, X, Y, and XY. Obviously we wanted hours on the X, so when we type and or delete text, it takes away on the X scale. You could also do that on the Y scale if you only wanted it in the Y, and or the X and Y will affect both the X scale and the Y scale. So notice we have the hide on empty checkbox here, and that means when we come in and we have no text within our text box or scene tree here, that the text box or the background box is going to be invisible. So as we start typing the text again, you can see that it will grow. If we take the hide on empty off and then come back and delete our text, you see that we are left with a small piece of our background. So if you do want this to hide when you're typing or don't have text, make sure you turn your hide on empty off. So there's always keep margins checkbox that you can keep on or off. There's a high precision. Notice when we check high precision, our right margin, left margin, bottom margin, top margin all gets a little bit more advanced. So now we can dial in a little bit more. If we take our high precision off, basically the right margin, left margin, bottom margin, top margin allows us to adjust this. So if we wanted to add more on the left and right, give us a little bit of space between the text and beginning and ending of the box, we can do that. Also bottom margin and top margin. Now right now the lock margins box is checked, so that's going to do it all proportionately. If we take that checkbox off, now we have just our right side that we can adjust. We have our left side that we can adjust independently, and then the same for the bottom and the top. Okay, so that's how the TextBG works, and it's how you add a backplate that will grow and or shrink with your text within your scene.